else now.
Oh, I completely agree. You know, seeing it in the exhibit every time I've seen it, it's like, oh, it's kind of cool. When I actually had to pick it up, yeah, that's when I was like, oh, this is weird.
That's museum curator Josh Poole from the House of the Temple. Guys, you've got to visit the House of the Temple. It is a Scottish Rite treasure. You have to check it out, and just don't be too alarmed when you turn around the corner and there's Albert Pike's face staring at you.
Tyler's Place listeners, don't forget the Scottish Rite Journal is now available on your smartphone or tablet. Visit scottishrite.org for complete details.
Dr. Nathan Box is a 32nd degree Scottish Rite Mason from the Valley of Joplin, Missouri, and he's also an ENT facial plastic surgeon. Brother Box, I know you became a Mason while you were an intern, and that really seems like a lot to juggle. So what made you get into Freemasonry?
I'd always kind of wanted to be one because my dad was, he's a Mason, he's Scottish Rite and Shrine, and then both of my deceased grandfathers were. In fact, one of my grandfathers was very involved in the York Rite. But again, they've been both deceased for a while, as well as I had several great uncles that were all Masons. So it's kind of a family tradition kind of thing.
So you were kind of destined to be a Freemason whether you like it or not.
Yeah, exactly.
As I understand it, you're a surgeon, but in your valley, you were the guy who ended up washing all the dishes.
Well, I did. I kind of moved on from that, but yeah, that's what I always used to do was wash the dishes. Hundreds of plates and dishware and all that kind of stuff because they really try to go all out when they put on their luncheons and stuff like that, as well as the breakfast and cooking and stuff. And so it kind of became a one-man kind of situation with just a little bit of help on occasion. So I kind of took it upon myself for a few years in a row that I was the only one pretty much back there at the reunions being able to do the dishes. I am a surgeon, and a few of those times that I was doing dishes, I was on call. So at the hospital, I thought, well, somebody has to do this, so I went ahead and stepped up and did it for a few years.
It's funny that you say that about that you have to step up, because one of the first lessons that we're taught in the Scottish Rite in the 4th degree is about duty, and that duty has to be performed regardless of, whether or not it's glamorous or regardless of whether or not there's a reward. Duty is just a basic responsibility. It has to be done regardless of whatever else is going on. And it's nice to know that you're a surgeon, but that Scottish Rite lesson, you still walk the walk and talk the talk.
And that's why I kind of took it upon myself, like say doing even those dishes, washing dishes, because I'm like, well, the dishes have to be done. When you have so many people, and it's not just the dishes, it's also the people that cook. So it's all the gravy that they make up. It's all got to be washed out. And that's a dirty job,
I got to ask you, though, how does being a Scottish Rite Mason affect your work as a doctor?
Well, it does. Just this Freemasonry teaches us, as far as being, a man's man and being, having a lot of its personality characteristics as far as who I am and helping others out when they're in need. That's just the core of Freemasonry and the Scottish Rite. We talk about, help for the widow and the widow's son. That's just, as far as my profession, that's it to a T, really. I didn't go just into medicine for the academics of it. I have a love for people. A big part of my practice, actually, since I take out a lot of children's tonsils and adenoids, I put a lot into children's ear tubes. So a big portion of my practice actually is a pediatric kind of focus. And so, I really like helping those kids out. And when you help the kids out, it obviously in turn goes ahead and helps out the parents, and so making their lives easier. So it really is definitely a positive correlate between the two, because it's just the things you learn in Masonry, the concepts, the ideas. That's just makes up who I am, really. That's my personality and the way I go about life.
Great words from Dr. Nathan Box. He's a 32nd degree Scottish Rite Mason and a surgeon. Just another one of our extraordinary Scottish Rite brothers. Coming up next, I'll tell you, Brother Arturo de Hoyos did not come into work today at the House of the Temple, so I'm going to give him a call at home because he's not getting off the hook for Tyler's Trivia.
He's a Masonic rock star, and this is his game. Tyler's Trivia with Grand Archivist Arturo de Hoyos.
You know, Art, I had it on good authority that Freemasons were supposed to be in charge of the weather, and why is it still freezing in Washington, D.C.? It's supposed to be spring.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that, actually. Today we're actually, I believe today or tomorrow, have the possibility of snow showers. I am not looking forward to it.
Well, what we are looking forward to is another round of Tyler's Trivia. Last month's question was, what rituals did Albert Pike write but not publish? The answer, Brother Arturo de Hoyos?
The answer is, it was the manuscripts for the 33rd degree. We have those rituals in the archives of the Supreme Council, and although in recent years there has been a typescript made, they have never actually been published. They've never been printed anywhere.
Is there a reason that Brother Pike chose not to publish those?
Yeah, I think it's confidentiality, is that, something's in print, there's a much greater probability that it will circulate, and relatively speaking, there are much fewer Scottish Rite Masons who were 33rds than those who were 32nds, of course. So we needed to print the rituals for the masses, so to say, but for the 33rds, it's conferred so infrequently relative to the other degrees that I don't think you ever saw need for it.
Well, that makes perfect sense. If you want to keep something kind of confidential, keep it secret, you probably shouldn't write it down.
Yeah, now, of course, it's always been somewhat amusing to me. We talked about Masonic secrecy, but as we both know, there have been ritual exposés almost as old as the fraternities. So secrets are what you make of them.
To me, the real secret of Freemasonry isn't a secret at all. It's the relationships that are the real treasure, I guess.
Absolutely. In fact, that gives me the opportunity to say something that I've said many times, is that the actual secrets of Freemasonry themselves are sometimes not as important as the fact that you have a brother upon whom you can depend, that you feel that you share something. That's how confidences are built. Knowing that you have something in common with each other that you don't share with other people gives you that feeling of brotherhood.
So mote it be. Well said, Brother Art. Well, our winner for last month's Tyler's Trivia is Brother Jeff Henson from Chicago. And Brother Jeff is going to get one of your autographed books, a fine addition to any collection. Do you have a trivia question available for the month of April, sir?
I do. This month's question is, in which Masonic degree or where in the Scottish Rite would you be most likely to see the symbol known as the Ouroboros, that is the serpent biting its tail?
If you think you know the answer to Brother Arturo de Hoyos' question, then go ahead and send us an email to podcast@scottishrite.org, or you can send me a brother-to-brother message on SR Chirp, and from all the correct entries we receive, we'll pick a winner or two and send them an autographed copy of one of Art's great books. And please get your answers in. Don't let him stump you, because I'm telling you, one of the things about Freemasonry that I know is not really a secret is that Arturo de Hoyos loves it when he stumps us all.
I do.
I know.
It's no secret.
So what does the rest of the spring look like for the Grand Archivist of the House of the Temple?
Well, what I'm really looking forward to, there are a couple things going on, but of course spring means spring reunion for Scottish Rite Masons. And if there's one piece of advice that I can give to new Scottish Rite Masons, it's this, is to get on board with Masonic education from the get-go. We sometimes describe the Scottish Rite degrees as like drinking from a fire hose. Yeah. I mean, there's so much material that comes at you so quickly that, sometimes you might be lost in all of it. I know myself, I was just bewildered at how much material I was exposed to when I received my degrees. So what I would say is, consider joining one of our Master Craftsman programs, getting involved in Masonic education. You'll really be surprised at how much meaningful material there really is for you.
Great advice from the Grand Archivist himself. Brother Arturo de Hoyos, we'll catch you next time on Tyler's Trivia.
Remember that we don't select our winners until just before we come back with our next segment, so everybody's got a fair chance. Open those books and find the answer.
This is the Tyler's Place.
That's going to wrap things up for the Tyler's Place podcast. Don't forget, get our smartphone app. You can listen to the Tyler's Place no matter where you are. It's free. All of the shows in one spot, the push of one button, you get the latest episode. And don't forget, If there's a guy in your valley who you think wants to hear about the Scottish Rite, or if there's a guy in your Blue Lodge, or just someone who's interested in Freemasonry, pass the podcast along. We would love for as many people to listen as possible. And if your valley puts a link to the Tyler's Place podcast on their homepage, let us know, because we definitely want to give you a shout out for that. Look for me on SR Chirp. That's the smartphone app from the Scottish Rite. It's free, and it lets you talk to brothers from all over the country. And don't forget, you can download the Scottish Rite Journal on your smartphone or on your tablet and read the journal no matter where you are. You can stay caught up on what's happening with the Scottish Rite. Next month, we'll have more on celebrating the craft and lots of fun on the Tyler's Place podcast. I'm your host, Maynard Edwards. I'll catch you next time.
If you're interested in becoming a Freemason or in joining the Scottish Rite, email us at podcast@scottishrite.org.